Okay, good. So the first format of the CPE course is the intensive one. I call it like intensive CPE prep. Basically, the people who are going to start doing it should already have C1 level. It can be higher. So here I write like C1 plus or even C2. You know why? Sometimes, yeah, some colleagues come to take this course and they say, okay, I really need to do that, but they have perfect English. And their reason to do it is that with their perfect English, they need to hone it for exam strategies and exam tasks. Because they, for example, have never done exam preparation at the CPE level. So even with C2, it's a great place to come and do preparation. But we all understand that if you are based in Russia, it's really challenging. Yeah? So you can't take this exam in Russia now. And if you are really intent on getting this certificate, it will mean probably moving out of the country for a few days, for a couple of days. Well, I don't know, I can't be very positive about the prospect of the Cambridge assessment exams coming back to us, but things might change by the next summer. So who knows? Provisionally, the people who take the intensive course will probably be taking the exam either in June next year or probably like early in autumn. I do recommend like still think of the opportunity to take an exam if you do this short preparation course. Well, it's not very short, of course, 8 months, but it's quite intensive because you invest so much time, money, and energy into the preparation. And if time, when time passes and you don't take the exam, your level stays with you. Some of your skills stay with you, but not all of them. And as time passes, if you have a big gap between completing a course and taking your exam, it might be harder and harder to actually enroll because somehow we start thinking that, okay, maybe I need more preparation time. And again, so it's this practice when it's non-stop and then you take the exam, usually the results are better. Also, if you want the intensive course, so it's a great idea to think of an option to take the exam finally. Well, so what else do you need to know? When I say flipped classroom, what I mean is that there's a lot of homework before we discuss some material in class. So, for example, so this is the book we use, Expert Proficiency. And if you don't know it, I'll just tell you, it consists of each really big module consists of 2 submodules, A and B. The same topic, for example, in module 1, it will be 1, performing arts, and A is, have you got what it takes, like skills and talents people need to be doing art, and module 1B is, it's live about performances, live performances and performing arts. But they are 2 separate submodules, and they're pretty big. Anyway, okay, I'll just give you some idea if you don't know the book. One submodule, like 1A, is from page 7 to page 14 inclusive, which means 8, yeah, I suppose 8 pages. 8 pages packed with vocabulary, like reading, speaking, use of English and grammar. And all this has to be done for 1 class within 1 week. So that's quite a lot of preparation. And you should understand that you do have 3 or 4 hours a week to prepare for your class, then 1 hour and 20 minutes for the class itself. And then there will be some more classes within a month. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. So quite a lot of homework for that. And in a couple of minutes, I'll show you what the study plan looks like for the intensive course. So that's what the flipped classroom means. Well, the groups are pretty small. They could be even 3 people, but ideally 4 people. There might be 6, but usually there are 4 people in each group, and that's a great opportunity to work in pairs a lot of the time, practicing speaking and working on constructions of grammar and vocabulary. Well, right. Then, apart from 1 class a week, like regular classes, you also get other things. Once a month, there will be a free speaking club session, and it's not anything separate arranged specifically for my C2 students. It's the general speaking club at the advanced level which I run. So it has a schedule. For example, now it's only Tuesday, but I'm hoping to open 2 more groups. I hope one of them will be launching quite soon on Saturday in the morning. The other one will probably launch a bit later on Thursday in the evening. So now there's one option, Tuesday morning, but later there will be at least 1 more or maybe 2 more. And those students will get the timetable from me with all the topics, like which date and which topic is in the speaking club. And they will be able to choose one of them in a month. If they want more speaking club, they will pay at a really reduced rate with 30% off, but one a month will be for free. And they will be able to choose the topic which they feel they don't have enough speaking practice on. And one more thing is this exam booster workshop. We're going to run them, I suppose, start running them either later in October or starting in November. Once a month, I will arrange for all my C2 students for a longer course, for a shorter course, and maybe some more people who might like just to come, although they are not doing my courses. A workshop dedicated to one exam aspect, and there are actually 4 exam aspects. We can say 5 because reading and use of English go as one paper, but they are quite different aspects. So we can count 5 exam aspects. And within this academic year, once a month, there are going to be 8 workshops once a month, which means that some aspects will be considered only in one workshop, and we will take an overview and work on some exam strategies, while with other more complex exam aspects like writing, there will be more workshops too. Right, so that's once a month. So again, in terms of the time that you need to allow and allocate for your studying on an intensive version of the course, it's like 1 hour and 20 minutes for one regular class once a week. Then once a month, one speaking club, either 1 hour on Thursday or 1 hour and 20 minutes Tuesday or Saturday, and 1 hour and we'll see, maybe even 2 hours. I'll see. Probably the exam booster workshops will be much longer, might be up to 2 hours once a month. So all in all, it amounts to up to 5 minimum hours of like study a week. Sounds more like 6 hours of studying every week. So if you are considering taking the intensive course, just think if you can afford the time. Because very often people might start with a lot of enthusiasm, and then a month later they will actually realize that that's a lot of work. They will feel snowed under and say, okay, well, maybe I need to have a life. And yeah, so just try to see how much time you can afford for that. Right, then the fees are here. I'll just briefly comment why there are 2 different types of fees. If you pay for 1 month, it's the higher figure, 6,900. It includes all that I've mentioned, like 4 classes, all the materials structured. Actually, I provide a lot of supplementary materials, including Quizlet sets and some other materials, a lot of them. Speaking club and exam booster workshop with all the materials included too. Plus, it also includes me checking your writing, 1 big exam format writing piece every month. There could be more peer checked, checked by other students. I provide a checklist, like how to check. We discuss all that. You see how I check your writing pieces, and then you get another student's piece of writing, and you check according to all the criteria that we have discussed by that time. So all this is part of the payment, but if you prefer to pay for a longer time, for 12 classes, which is 3 months, you get it's like 17 or 15% discount, and that's what it looks like for 1 month. But of course, you pay like 17,700 for 3 months in one payment. Well, right. So, well, these ones, no, okay, I think I'll just delete these because, well, these are not relevant anymore. It looks like it's, 1 moment, it's either Tuesday for the intensive course or Saturday. So one of these days, I'll talk again to you to those who were going to take part in the course. I'll finalize it within a few days so that we decide about next week, and we might even start next week. So if things go fine. So these are the two options I'm considering now, but there will be just one mini group. Right, any questions so far about the intensive way of preparing for the exam? Yep. Okay, so I'll show you what the materials look like. And first of all, I'll start with what I call the study plan. This one is for the active group. I'll scroll up and maybe I'll show you like it in perspective, 50% scale. That's what it looks like. We are not done yet, but we're close to the end of this course. This course was supposed to last for 9 months, but because the exams were cancelled and my students understood that they were not taking them that summer, anyway, so we decided to extend it, and this group is going to go on until December this year. So I'll make it a bit bigger and explain what sort of things you will find in the study plan. So again, for the people who are present here, and for those who are just thinking of taking the more extended 2-year version of the course, the study plan will not look like this. Don't be worried, because it will be twice as light. То есть я быстренько поясню. Это study plan с заданиями именно для интенсивного курса. Тут нет вариантов что-то пропускать, и то я сейчас расскажу, что тут что-то факультативно, а что-то обязательно. То есть не пугайтесь, я знаю, что это выглядит ужасно. Я сейчас еще побольше сделаю, там еще сбоку есть, по-моему, тесты, которые пока не вместились. Да, тесты там еще есть сбоку. Сейчас вот все это уместится. Не пугайтесь, да, это выглядит с одной стороны так, но те, кто идут на интенсивный курс, должны понимать, что investment в плане времени, не только денег, но и времени он тоже большой. Вот эти инвестиции, и времени тратится много. Те, кто обдумывает более легкий вариант 2-годичного курса, там будет 9 месяцев, потом решим 2 или 1 месяц мы прервемся на лето, и еще 10 месяцев второй учебный год. Вот там это, то есть та же программа, но она в 2 раза, соответственно, будет облегченной. Да, на первый год у нас будет только половина этого, то есть представьте, что половина клеточек не заполнена. Это для тех, кто на 2-годичный курс собирается. Вот. А как только мы уже будем с вами окончательно определяться, я тогда уже буду составлять под вас study plan. So, okay, switching back to English, as I promised. So this is the intensive course study plan. And we have rubrics like topics and skills, basically the way they are given in the expert course book. Then tasks from the expert course book, extra vocabulary or revision of vocabulary, grammar and use of English, which can be supplementary throughout the course, but closer to the end, it becomes obligatory. Writing, exam speaking practice, which appears later. Supplementary listening and reading, like I provide YouTube videos, some audios, podcasts related to the topic that we're doing. And that's important to do that at least 15 minutes every day, ideally for longer, but like you're traveling somewhere, just open these links and listen to something related to the topic we are doing. And tests, as I said. So for what could homework look like for one class? Let me just find something more typical. Sometimes it's like this. So you have a few pages, up to 7 pages. For the intensive course, it's 7 pages of tasks from the course book. Optional vocabulary is usually kind of optional, but highly recommended. Some links to check topical vocabulary, and probably that will be all. Quite a lot, anyway. On other days, there will be, let's see, like this. Again, course book, a few pages. Vocabulary revision, just I put together what we did in class into a PDF file from the Miro board, and you just look through, or you go through Quizlet sets. Grammar from 2 grammar books, optional. Why is it optional? Because sometimes you start doing exercises from the course book and you understand that basically you're fine. You started the topic well enough. You don't seem to make mistakes. So for now, you don't really need to have any more extra practice. But if you have mistakes when doing the course book, then it's a good idea to do the same topic using some extra resources. Then writing some preparatory things, but whenever writing is marked with green, it means that it's time to actually write, not just prepare. Of course, we discuss in class how to do that, but it's time to actually write. And have a look how big this task looks. It's not just write. You know the deadline. Let me make it bigger for you. The deadline. What can help? The course book, just go back, revise before you start writing. Look at some samples. Look at a model article. You might like to check the model article in a resource book. Then, after you've written it, edit. And you've got the checklist and the assessment sheet that examiners typically use and students can use too. The scale, actually we discussed that in class, but it's all put together. So the way, well, it looks big, but basically it means like write one piece. And all the other things are just there to help you. Okay, if you have questions, straight away you can write them in the chat box. Oh, so that's what it looks like. Sometimes there are a lot of supplementary listening and reading links, but the topic, one topic is done during two classes, within two classes plus one extra class to revise. One class, module 1A, second class, module 1B, one third class to revise and do exam practice on the topic. That's for the intensive course. But those supplementary reading and listening links, well, you just do them whenever you have time, not all of them, just some of them, just as you see fit. And from time to time, especially starting in winter, we start doing tests. It's not, at first, it's not the complete test. It could be like reading and use of English. Next time it will be listening and speaking. But closer to the end of the course, in April, in May, you will definitely have to be doing complete tests, practice tests, and we will be looking at which strategies you used, how you could have avoided mistakes, and so on. Well, so maybe I'll also show you the Miro board for the course, because I put a lot of the materials there, a lot of writing samples, recommendations from Cambridge assessment. Then for each format, there will be a separate board. And this is what I use, for example, to work in class with that, because we will be discussing the formats, how to do that, like how to write reviews, what type of subtopics to mention if you are writing a review of a book, for example, or a review of a film. And we will be looking at some rules of how to do that. Okay, yeah, it's loading, so it's getting clearer and clearer. Yeah. What sort of layout, for example, a critical review should have. And definitely we will be looking at sample reviews and discussing like what sort of layout it has, if it can be possibly improved. We'll be looking at those which were assessed, but you won't know the mark, and you will try to assess a sample answer on your own as if you were a Cambridge examiner, and only then we would see the marks and discuss, well, how your assessment was close to Cambridge examiner's assessment. But for my students to find it convenient to use these materials, well, they have access to these Miro board, but at the same time, I create PDF files, like presentations. So all these will be on separate pages in a PDF file, and you'll just get a big pack, thick file, yeah, say like how to write a review for CP, with all this, but on separate pages, which will be really convenient. Yeah. So, and now I'd like to show you what just ordinary class materials will look like here. Okay, let it be whatever, module 6. Let's jump here. Okay, for example, travel. So I take some parts from the book and add more and kind of rearrange all the materials so that they are maybe more colorful, more convenient to use, and so that there are more of them, basically. So like this was taken from the book, and the words were taken from the book, but we were brainstorming also some synonyms, and now they are locked, but when they're not, actually, at first they were at random, and all together we were discussing what synonyms they might be, and we were rearranging all this right on the board together. Sometimes I cover part of that and I ask my students to brainstorm something, and only then I open it and they see the answers, the original answers. But anyway, so for every class, there will be something, usually quite a lot, on the board. And I usually give prompts with some interesting phrases, not just topic material, vocabulary, like preferences when traveling, wandering, haphazard network of back streets amidst the hustle and bustle, a fraught rickshaw ride. So these come from the texts that we discussed before. So they don't come out of the blue. So they're like, wow, what's the fraud? What's fraud? Yeah, so like, and they don't know. Of course they know, but I prefer to make it more visual for them. And like ways of expressing opinion, agreeing and disagreeing, they appear again and again. Sometimes they are the same in a different place. Sometimes they will be different for different ways of expressing opinion. So like here, for example, how to ask for opinion. So here's a question, but you can also see interesting phrases as when you are discussing something. Sometimes I show them and the students are talking and they can't see these. Sometimes I don't show them. We look first. They could write down a couple of phrases they want to use in their speech, and then I don't show because they need to train their memory too, not just this. So basically, let me give you a bird's eye view of this. So for each module, I have one line for each module. Okay, yeah, it looks a bit cluttered like this, but basically it's fine. Like one module from left to right, next module, and so on. So something like this. Okay, and again, as soon as we are done with one module, yeah, so I'll just show you some more. Like there's a question, and before I ask my student, okay, now you speak for 2 minutes, of course we brainstorm. Some of the ideas here were not something that so it's not just me who puts information here. Quite often we brainstorm, and my students will either write in the chat box in Zoom, or sometimes write on the Miro board, and then I will just arrange it beautifully. Okay, so you have a lot of ideas, take another look, and now you start speaking. Right, so there are some videos, some extra videos, and so on. Well, and basically, whenever we are done with one module, I put all these frames in a PDF file, and my students get this as something supplementary to the course book. So again, partially it's from the course book, but there are a lot of things. Yeah, so and sometimes we will be making context, adding something all together, and they revise and they remember how we were discussing that. Okay, so that's what the Miro board with the materials looks like for this. Okay, now, basically, I suppose that will be it about the intensive, format. If you have questions, you're welcome to ask them. Either switch on your mic or type in the chat. Yep, not yet. Okay, great then. So moving on, the other version is for those who are not really planning to take the exam anytime very soon, maybe later, or well, maybe never, but those people who are concerned with improving their level of English in a systematic way and being ready to take the CPE whenever opportunity arises in the future. So I have this 2-year option, as I said, which I call Towards C2 Proficiency. And here the entry level can be slightly lower, C1 minus. But anyway, it's not B2. Some people asked me if it's okay. No, not really B2 yet, not even B2 plus. That would be a bit too challenging. So C1 minus, C1, and then we are striving to achieve C2 within like 1.5 years or almost 2 years. So we study for 2 months, starting in hopefully October until the end of June. Then we have a break and we'll decide with the group if it's 1 month or 2 months in the summer, and then we'll study for another 9 or 10 months. Again, we'll decide, well, but I mean, by default, it's 9 months for the second academic year. Here, there might be slightly more people, like 2 people more, up to 8, but probably, again, there might be 4 people, there might be 6 or 8 people. So we'll see. Basically, most of the things are the same here, the same type of program, just kind of spread well, over the period, which is 2 times as long, yeah, even longer, yeah. So not 8 months, but well, either 18 or even 19 months. And now, okay, so some options are not relevant anymore. So this one is not working. So for this class, it's either 2 o'clock, just the same time we started today, or 3 o'clock. It depends on the time of the group I was talking about before. So this Saturday time, anyway, so it seems to be the most popular one. The fees are the same as I explained before. The amount of writing, someone asked me this question, how many pieces of writing are we supposed to write, and how often, how much homework are we going to have? So the homework is going to be about like 3 pages of materials from the book, and some other optional things. So we won't be in too much hurry, but at the same time, it won't be like, you know, half an hour of homework. No, I suppose it will amount to about 1 hour or 1 hour and a half per week of preparation time. And just like with the previous version, the intensive one class every week, plus 1 free speaking club session every month, and 1 exam booster workshop every month, and 1 piece of writing to submit every month too. This piece of writing might be slightly different from the intensive course. In the intensive course, the writing will have to be the exam format writing every month, that's for sure. And more often, some smaller pieces, probably just for practice. But in this course, we can be a bit more relaxed. So sometimes it will be a shorter piece, maybe like introduction and conclusion. Or maybe we'll just work on the intro and conclusion in class, and your homework will be just to write the body paragraphs for the same piece. So it will be lighter, but definitely from time to time, we'll still be doing exam formats, like completed form, submitted to me checking this, providing very detailed feedback with what can be improved, what sounds great, and basically giving quite a lot of recommendations. It's usually I don't write things like, well done, or well, not well done, try again. No, I give really detailed feedback on written work. And when I was doing a stream a couple of weeks ago on Contacting, there was this question, like why I don't give marks for writing, actually for speaking either. I don't give you marks out of 5 as Cambridge would, because only specifically trained people can do that for these marks to be accurate. And I don't want to mislead you. I might say that it's a very good mark, but it might not be, not only because I am wrong in assessing you. This might be too, because I wasn't trained specifically. I was trained, but not as exam trainers are trained to assess. You might get a different mark just because of the exam stress, the nerves, all the different types of factors, not being prepared enough, not having enough of sleep. So, and the mark might be lower, but the student might say, well, you told me I was going to get 4. You gave me 4 all the time, and now I get 3 for writing. So what does that mean? Didn't you guarantee me a 4? Of course I didn't. And if you ask a lot of other teachers providing Cambridge exam preparation, you will see that either all or most of them, the definite majority, don't give you marks, don't give you points for that. There will be a lot of comments according to all the Cambridge criteria, detailed comments, things to improve, how to improve, probably what to work on, but no marks. But my students on this course will have an opportunity to do speaking with a certified Cambridge examiner So this is included into the money that you pay. So once you will do that, so closer to the exam, if you or to the end of the course. So with the on the intensive course, we're going to have this mock speaking exam with the Cambridge examiner, either in April or in May. So we'll decide, we'll see how the students feel, what time the examiner can suggest. So, and she will give you really realistic marks. Again, you should remember that doing it from the comfort of your own home is not the same as doing it in the exam room. So, but anyway, so that's a person specifically trained to give marks, but I won't be. So, well, provisionally, I might say what it sounds like, but I will never put it, you know, like black on white. Right. If you have any more questions here, you are welcome to ask them. Yeah, but that's my kind of view and standpoint on writing and giving marks. But you will do it. Okay, so thank you for finding the time to come today. Yeah, it's Saturday and you might have had other plans, but thank you for joining me. It gives me a much clearer idea, and yeah, I can talk to you a bit later about that. So have a great weekend. We'll get back in touch about that and see you around.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye.
Take care.
Goodbye.